Hello, friend. I'm Marcy Farrell, and I'm so thankful to be with you today. This is one of those more practical episodes that I like to do on occasion. I was pondering through what systems and tools and routines help me in managing my days. And I always find myself in various seasons doing a bit more tweaking and changing things, just asking myself things like, what's working? What's not working? And I wanted to share with you some things that are helping me to manage my days. So these are systems and apps and routines that I've appreciated having available to me and in place in my day-to-day life. And always, you need to hear this, okay? I This is not meant for you to copy because we're all in different seasons. We function, we do things differently. But I do like hearing how other people and how other Christian homemakers get things done and what tools that they use. And for me personally, I always love ideas and examples. So I'm really grateful to put together a video like this one because I benefit the most from it. It gets me thinking things through. It makes me look a bit deeper at my days and my systems and how I'm managing my time. So that's what this is today. Basically, a walk through various tools and systems to help me get things done. It's practical. I hope to encourage you, if nothing else, for you to take a look at how your days are going and maybe ask yourself some simple questions like what's working, what's not working, where do I find myself wasting time? Where can I make better use of my time? Can I simplify my tasks or my days or automate them? So there's going to be lots of links mentioned, and I will put them all in the main show notes at the blog over at my home on the web at thankfulhomemaker.com. And just another quick note, if you're enjoying my channel, would you take a moment to subscribe? If you don't yet, I would love that. And then when you get to the end of this video, if it's a blessing to you, will you give it a thumbs up? I would really appreciate that. So let's chat through 10 things helping me to manage my day. So number one is my morning routine. This won't surprise any of you regular watchers or listeners to my podcast out there, right? Or blog readers. I really do love my morning routine. I really love mornings. I've shared before that I wasn't always a morning person and I didn't always have a morning routine. But as marriage and motherhood came about, I realized I needed to make the most of my mornings because the day got ahead of me and it would be noon and I didn't get much accomplished. And I may have even still been in my pajamas. So my morning routine for me is pretty simple. I do the same things each morning. They may get tweaked a bit in various seasons, but for the most part, it's the same things. There's mornings that don't go smoothly, and I've learned that it's just fine, and I can get back on track the next morning. But for now, I'm just going to walk through it quickly. My morning routine consists of I usually wake up between 5:30 and 6 a.m. I used to get up earlier, but I really don't need to in the season of life that I'm in. I'm not getting kids out the door. I don't have a work commute. If I wake up earlier on my own, that works out great, but I don't really need to be up earlier than 6 a.m. most days. I start by going over my calendar and my to-do list because when I do that, it just frees up my mind for when I'm about ready to sit and spend time with the Lord. I do keep my little to-do list card handy in case something comes to my mind so I could write it on my list and then it's not distracting me from my time with the Lord. Then next in my morning routine comes my time with the Lord. I'm going to deal with this one separately. It's going to have its own number because it's my one of my biggest helps in managing my days. So then after my time with the Lord, I'll do simple things like, breakfast, empty the dishwasher. We have a cat, so I take care of her kitty litter and her food and water. I'll exercise. This one could get its own category, but it's not because I'm getting consistent, but I'm not as consistent as I would like to be with it. I could share much more if I was consistent. And I have good seasons and bad seasons. I continue to keep pushing through though. I don't ever give up on exercise because if nothing else, my husband and I just take a walk in the evenings after dinner because I know how good it is for me. I know how it makes me feel. I know the importance of strength training and high intensity interval training, especially for women in my age category. So I'd like to be strong and be able to keep up with those grandkiddos when they come over or when we do our week-long camp with them. I want to be able to run that obstacle course with them. So maybe if I do another one of these videos in the future, I'll have a little bit more on this one. But after exercise, then I'll usually eat breakfast. We do smoothies. I'll throw good stuff in them. I'll add protein powder and collagen and greens and berries and cinnamon. And at that point, then I'll shower. I'll tidy the bathroom. And I'm pretty much ready for the day. Another breakfast we love is oatmeal. That's another staple breakfast for us because I can make a few days worth at a time. which I really love. So then we could just heat it up in bowls over the next couple days. I doctored up with chia seeds and hemp hearts and walnuts and protein powder and berries. And honestly, it's probably my favorite breakfast over smoothies. And I love making it in batches like that. So it's ready to go. From here, I will move and I'll move to tasks on my computer, like checking email. I will check the scheduled post for the blog, see what I have scheduled for the day in the schedule and make sure everything's good. I'll usually do my writing at around that time in the morning from my videos or podcasts, which actually was what I was doing right now as I was putting this together. My mind is just sharpest in the morning. Basically, if you don't have a current morning routine or would like one or to get more encouragement, I'll link my video titled Implementing a Realistic Morning Routine in the video below. So, number two would be my time in the Word. And I change it up sometime, but for the most part, the basic core elements of it are the same, Bible reading, prayer, and scripture memory. But right now, I've gone back to the McShane Bible reading plan for this year. I started with the 5-day plan and then I switched to McShane. I have been a Bible reading plan dropout. Last year, I started the 2-year Bible reading plan and it just was not a good fit for me. I really wanted more New Testament reading in my day-to-day readings. So I switched back to the McShane plan. I like that I can read along with D.A. Carson's devotionals called For the Love of God. They match with that reading plan. So when I have some time, I don't do it every morning, but I like to do that sometimes. So in this season and at the start, I say that, let me go back. So Table Talk magazine from Ligonier Ministries, I highly recommend, and I utilize that pretty much as my daily resource. There's another resource out there called Be Thou My Vision by Jonathan Gibson. It takes you through short prayers every day of adoration, confession, praise to the Lord, and intercession. I think it's a 30-day book window, either 30 or 40 days. He's got a couple different ones and I could have them confused. But you read through the creeds and catechisms. It's really just a liturgy of personal worship. And it has a recommended Bible reading plan. And I obviously don't use that. I use my McShane plan. I don't use that resource every day, but I may use it several days a week, a couple days a week. It's usually when I have longer time to sit with the Lord that morning. So it might be that morning that I woke up earlier on my own and I just have that extra 15, 20 minutes to sit with it. So I'll start with Table Talk all the time, if nothing else. It just kind of gets my heart right. And then if I have time, I'll do that Be That My Vision. And then I'll move to my Bible reading from there. And after my time in the Word, I'll take some notes. I'll kind of journal a little bit, some thoughts, and then I'll spend time in prayer. I like to pray out loud. And then I just start praying and move into the prayers from my prayer mate app from that. So I'll begin my prayer with the Lord out loud, just speaking to the Lord. Then I'll kind of move into my prayer mate app, which has all my lists for the day. It has my church family, my family members, all of that in it. If time allots, I'll work on my scripture memory. I use the Bible memory app for that. And then again, if I have time, I'll spend time reading a Christian nonfiction book or some other encouraging read from another Christian book that I shared a while back. It's been a few months now with my newsletter subscribers, an image where I keep all my quiet time resources and a few that I'm working in this year from my reading list. So I may spend a few minutes reading from one of them too. I really love to write in my journal, and I'll sometimes journal out my prayers. Basically, it varies, right? But key is Bible reading, prayer, and scripture memory. And if nothing else, the two I always do are I read the Word and I pray. So in the midst of all that I'm saying that, right? Those are the key elements. And then I may get up and have a couple trips for coffee. I may stretch a bit because I'm sitting for a while. Sometimes I'm sitting for about an hour or more with the Lord. And then I'll transition to the next part of my morning routine, which becomes my chores. And when I'm doing my chores, I may listen to a sermon or a podcast. So before I move to number 3, I want to take this quick side note because this is really important. Okay, this is important. As you're watching and listening to me here, don't think I get this done perfectly. Okay. There is much that goes undone. I have lazy moments. I have sick days. I have days that are unproductive. I have days that I didn't even get to open my Bible. But these various tools and systems I'm sharing, they help me to keep focused and on task, and they help me to get back into routine quickly when I do have those off days. My most important task always to remember, the most important goal that should encompass everything that I do is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. So these systems and tools that I'm sharing with you are things the Lord has allowed me to incorporate into my life so I can continue to serve and love Him and to serve and love others. When my day starts focused on Him and my heart is reminded of His goodness to me in the gospel, I'm better equipped to love those He's given me to serve and to serve them well, with the hopes that I'm always pointing them to Him. And then when I'm doing all that, for some reason, I seem, by the grace of God, seem to find myself making better use of my time. So number 3 is an area that I call my spiritual priorities. And you may call them just goals or priorities, but I call them spiritual priorities. And they help me to keep focus through the days and weeks and really the year on areas that are important to me and on things that I'd like to accomplish. I've shared more on this in a video on spiritual priorities, and I'll try to remember to link that one below. I also have a helpful resource to work through them in my shop. I'll link to that too, not necessary. But each year, I review these 7 areas where I hope to see growth or change or build relationships or get things done. It's a way for me to be intentional in how I spend my time. This to me is no different and should be more important than planning for a meal or for company or for a vacation. Because if those are important things to us, we take the time to plan ahead. So this should be an important aspect of our life. So I'll usually carve out a few hours at the beginning of the year, and I'll sit with a cup of coffee either at home here, or I may even go to a local coffee shop, and I'll just kind of sit with my Bible and my planner and my pen. And these are my 7 categories, and they're from a little resource that's super handy. I highly recommend. It's called Shopping for Time by Carolyn Mahaney. And the 7 categories are grow in godliness, love my family, serve in the church, fellowship with Christians, evangelize non-Christians, attend to my work, and care for my physical health. So after I've gone through my list of things I hope to accomplish in each area, so I'll take each area, I'll pray through it, write my list of things. I'll have my list from the previous year to see what I'm carrying over. I'll simplify it. I'll write a short list under each main category. I kind of keep that in my planner for the year. And then every month, I'll kind of review it and ponder what priorities I can work into that month. And then from there into each week. And then I do give it a good review every quarter too. So, and all that does not take but just minutes, really. It's just giving it a look and being reminded of what my hopes were. So let me give you I want to give you an example from each category so you can see what it might look like. So grow in godliness. So I've wanted to learn more hymns. So I've kind of kept out the Hymns of Grace hymnal, and I try to work it in some mornings in my time with the Lord because I just don't come from a strong hymn background, and I would like more knowledge of hymns than I do in my background and in my mind as I'm singing during the day. To love my family. So in this category, one of them is we do a yearly camp for our grandkids. We call it a cousin camp. They don't have cousins. It's the 3 of them. So we do it for our grandkids where we spend the week. We grab them here. We spend a week with them and we work on a theme for the year, what areas in their lives that we can encourage them to come know about Jesus. We'll ask their mom and dad, are there areas that you'd like us to help focus on with the kids? So this is on my list to work on because it's important to me and my husband, and that we are intentional to point our grandkids to Jesus. Another one of the areas was serve in the church. And every year I seem to have the same item on my list, and I have seasons where I'm better and some where I'm just not so good. But I want to get better at sending notes and cards to church family, especially our seniors or those that are homebound. And when I do this, or birthday cards, that's a big one, or anniversary cards. When I do this, I usually do it on a Sunday afternoon during my weekly planning. I'll just try to send out a card or two with a quick note, pray for the person, and mail it off. I did set up an area though with cards and stamps and stickers to make it easy to do. So another area is fellowship with Christians. So my hubby and I like to work on this one together, and we keep this running list of those in our church family we'd like to get over for dinner, and we try to incorporate a couple each month. These are, again, lists I keep in my planner. I keep that list of people in my planner, so it's there and I see it. Another one is evangelize non-Christians. I have this area that I keep in that Prayer Mate app that I talked about to pray for those that what I call my impossible list. And that's from Luke 18:27. With man, it is impossible. With God, all things are possible. And he's referencing salvation there. So it's a list of my family and friends in my life who don't know Jesus that I continue to pray just for opportunities to share with them, for their eyes to be open, for the Lord to put others in their life to share with them. It is just amazing too, when we pray for others, how the Lord works in praying for them. It reminds me to get together with them or give them a call or a text or a note to ask them how I can pray for them and let them know I'm praying for them. Attend to my work. So, one item on my list this year is to tackle our basement. We need to remove wallpaper, which my husband has been really diligent in getting at it. So, it's been so good. He's so much better at that than I am. It's My basement's kind of dating us from the early 90s. This room is actually a room in our basement that was part of this project that we've worked on. It was just an old little, it's pretty small. It's maybe like a walk-in closet size. And we didn't really use it for anything. So we converted it to this. So this was part of the project. I also need to do some other decluttering. I need to get rid of some furniture. So there's some things that I need to work on and take care of that. So good stuff though. But if that's on my list, then I can make little notes as to what are the steps we need to do. And I could go, okay, for the month of May, we could do this step, or we could get this done, or whatever that might be. Care for my physical health is on there. So one of the things I've been working on is committing to exercising 3 to 4 times a week with weights. I'm working on that, and just walking regularly. So that's on my list. I need to make it simple, and I need to lay it out for me to stick with it. So this is just an example of one item in each of those 7 areas of the spiritual priorities. And some of them I hope to become regular habits in my life, right? Like my sending cards and my exercise. Others are one and done, like the basement. That's when we're done, and we'll move on to the next home project. Again, I have a video on the spiritual priorities that I will link in the show notes if you want to hear more. So number 4, and this is a favorite of mine. I'm so glad I was introduced to this. It is a task management app. So this is a tool that has become indispensable to me, okay? I'm an iPhone user, so I'm an Apple, I'm a Mac girl. So it's don't hate me if you're not a Mac person. I'm sorry. It's just what I have now. And I can't even imagine switching at this point. I am so in. They really sucked me in, and I can't get out now. But it's a task management app called Things 3. I liked this one because it was a one-time purchase when I bought it for like $6.99. So it wasn't like a monthly fee. But there's other ones out there. There's free ones. There's other things available. But this Things 3, it's accessible on all my devices. It's even accessible on my watch. It helps me manage my to-do list from anywhere. So basically, it is a tool that helps me to capture all those thoughts and things going on in my head. It is so helpful to me. So not only does it help me capture them, it helps me to get them scheduled. And usually what gets scheduled gets done. So this is tasks. That is not appointment and events. That's for the calendar, and that's coming up. I don't know what number, but it's coming up. But this is my tasks, my to-do list. This particular tool could be really its own podcast episode, but for now, or video, I've talked about doing that, and I need to do that, but I'm really bad at the whole screen thing. I'd love to show images, but I need to, you know what? That's on my to-do list to figure out. So you guys get these headshot videos, and I'm really sorry, but it's about all I can do right now. So I will link to some helpful resources if you have more interest in this app as I walk through it. There's other app options out there too. My hubby uses Todoist. He's an Android user, so he uses Todoist. There's one called TickTick I used to use, and I like that one too. Tim Challies' book called Do More Better was the one that kind of introduced me to this, and that's a really helpful resource. So check that book out. I will link to it too. So my app is set up with my main categories of my life, and these main categories are on my desktop. They're in various other places. I use a tablet called a Remarkable tablet. It's basically a notebook, so I don't really use notebooks anymore. This Remarkable tablet has hundreds and hundreds of notebooks in it, and that's how my Remarkable tablet is set up. So these are my areas of responsibility, my main categories. I have home, family, work, ministry, social, and I added travel to mine. So I just started another area in my app called gifts because I'm so tired of seeing good gift ideas and I forget about them. So I wanted to play a place to kind of capture them and hold on to gift ideas that would be great for a specific birthday or a person or for Christmas. It's one of those things I just want to remember. So when I have a task that needs to go on my to-do list, like write this video, 10 things helping me to manage my days as a homemaker, it goes under the category work. And I date when I want to start it, kind of just go on that date. So let's say I was just going to start writing this yesterday. So I would have put this in my things app for yesterday. All right. And then I can make it repeat. So I can have it repeat every day. So it'll keep popping up until I finish it. I can determine how frequently I want it to repeat, and I can even put a deadline on it when I need it to be done and finished, and then I can put when I'm going to record it. So I had on my schedule for today in my app, when I opened my Things app, it said record this video, and that's what I'm doing. I can even flag it for importance, which I really do that, but I can put notes under it, which I love. So if there's articles or resources I come across that pertain to whatever that task is or that video, like if the basement is on my task and I come up with ideas with paint colors or ideas for furniture placement, I could put those under it. If I come up with articles that would go well with this video to grasp some nuggets from, I could put those under that particular task. It's just to help in me putting it all together. If it's a repeating daily task, like my morning routine, or a repeating weekly task, like menu planning, it just pops up on the day I have it scheduled. So when I check it off as done, it's going to pop up like either tomorrow, like my morning routine, or the following week, like it would for menu planning. Everything I have to do task-wise goes into my Things app. There's even what I call, I hold it as a someday folder. It's kind of from David Allen's Getting Things Done. There's a someday folder for things I'd like to possibly get to one day. It's an area, again, to capture things so they're not forgotten. Like if I have something, an idea that pops in my head, I have some way to store it so it's there and I can find it again, because these ideas in my head, they come in and they go away and I can't find them again. It's good for me. In my Things, the 3 app on my phone or my tablet or my desktop or even my watch, I can see my daily calendar along with my tasks. I really like that. I like the flexibility to move tasks around and see my calendar at the same time. So I know I can see there's some events on the calendar. I'm like, that's too busy of a day. I'm not going to be home much. So those tasks are going to have to move to another day. At the start of each day, before I begin my time with the Lord, I take a 3x5 note card. Oh, I wish I had one down here and I don't have these really cool little note cards with check boxes. I'll link those in the show notes. So they're really cool. I like them a lot. So I'll take that note card and I'll write my tasks on it that are on my Things app for that day. That way I don't need to be on my phone throughout the day. I have an easy task list to take with me. I can cross them off. I can make other notes if needed. I group my task in like areas on my note card. So for example, like I may take all the tasks that are related to cleaning or home tasks, and I try to do those together. I may take all the tasks that are computer related or more writing technical kind of work, or if it's office work in my husband's office that I have to do, I will put those together. And sometimes I separate them. So if it's more administrative work, like tasks like answering emails, or if I'm updating a social media queue, then I those kind of go together. But then if it's an area where I need to really sit and think and write, I call that my deep work. It's from that lovely Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, great book. So that's going to involve more like writing videos or podcasts or posts for the blog. It's going to, or a message for something coming up. Like in a week, I have the Teach Them Diligently conference coming up in Pigeon Forge. That goes in my deep work because I need time to just sit and concentrate for longer than 30 minutes. I probably need a couple hours to sit and work on that. So that goes in that category. So on my note card, I'll divide it like that. I'll put my cleaning tasks, my admin, and then I'll put my deep work. And that way I know when I sit down what I'm doing, and I can even time slot it if I want to, which some days I do that. I'll put the time. I'll kind of estimate how long I think that's going to take me to do and do it by time. And I'll be very good to put break times in and my meal times because I know I'm going to stop. Plus it gives me some time to catch my breath, do something else, look out the window. Something. It's so good. I can even, what I do love about it, I can cross off tasks right on my watch and I can add things from my watch. I could speak into it and add things. So I like that. At the end of that day, I'll take that physical list on the 3x5 card and I'll update my app for the next day. So I'll check off the done items. What didn't get done will move to the next day or maybe another day. Maybe it doesn't even need done or maybe it needs delegated. I can determine that. There's some much better resources out there explaining this, how to use a task management app better than I am probably doing right now by any means. Hopefully you got kind of a gist of it. You could keep a basic to-do list on just a notepad. You do not need an app, but it's just a place that you can capture everything. So maybe you keep a little notebook with you in your purse all the time. So you have a place to capture stuff when it comes up. That's what we used to do, right? Before apps. My friend Reagan Rose at Redeeming Productivity, he has a really helpful course called To-Do List Done Right. And that helped me in this area. And if it's an interest to you, the best way to start is to just pick up an app to download and start using it one day at a time, build it. You'll determine a system that works best for you. That's how I did it. And I love that. And I want to share this quote from Tim Challies because this is really good. He said, ultimately, a strong system of productivity isn't necessarily meant to help you do more, but to ease your mind, to calm your heart, to allow you to have confidence that your system is good enough, perfected enough, robust enough to grant you the joy of forgetting what you need to remember. Whether you learn that system through, he says, our time here or through one of 100 other worthy books, I highly recommend creating some kind of a system that fits your personality, a system that suits your life, a system that puts your mind at rest. You will know that system is where you need it to be when you trust it enough that you can forget what you need to remember, confident that the system will remember it for you. So for me, that's what my task management app does for me. Again, I use Things 3. It's iOS, but TickTick and Todoist are some other good ones that I'm familiar with. There's probably many more than that. So number 5 on my list is menu plan. And you all knew that this would be on my list. And menu planning is super, super easy and helpful. I have a course for it. You don't have to purchase my course. It's there. I do think it's pretty helpful though. But you can start this system very simply. I'm going to lay it all out for you. You're going to sit and you're going to make a list of all your family favorite top meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or at least just dinners. And you're going to keep that list because you're going to keep adding to it over time as you make more favorite meals. You can even keep a list for those, what I call emergency dinners, those dinners that are super fast to make when you don't have a lot of time. You can add to your list and add snacks and desserts. And even what I love is a hospitality dinner list, meals that you love to serve when company comes over. So from those lists, you just begin to plan your meals each week. For me, I do it Sunday evenings because I usually grocery shop on Mondays. I'm a weekly shopper. I know some of you you might do it monthly or bi-weekly. However it does work out for you, just do it. Weekly works for me. We seem to get rid of leftovers easier because it's amazing for me how easy we can throw. And again, it's just my husband and I. I'm not dealing with children anymore in the home. We are now empty nesters. So we can throw those leftovers over rice or a bed of salad greens, and it makes a whole new meal out of them. We love doing that. I love pulling out other items from the fridge and pantry, various seasons or dressings to kind of kick it up a notch. But sometimes we get pretty creative with it. My husband's much more creative than I am. My specific time savers in this area are, again, my favorite meals list and just planning them out each week. We don't always stick to the plan. Things change, right? We end up maybe going out or having someone over, or maybe we just feel like ordering pizza. But I do like having a plan, and it really does save time and money, not having to think so much about food every day. My big line is I don't have to wonder anymore, what's for dinner? I do at the blog. I have a free weekly menu planner to write out your menu and stick on your fridge. It's free in the library resources at the blog if you're a blog subscriber. So I'll link how to do that in the show notes. Number 6, it's another app. It's called Anylist. And honestly, you could still use your task management app for this, but I just like Anylist for this. It helps me manage my days, and it kind of goes with my meal planning. Anylist helps me to keep track of my groceries needed and any other list I want to put in it. Like in it, I keep a running Costco list of items we need to pick up on our next visit. I have a travel grocery list of our favorite items to pick up when we're staying at Airbnbs. I have a list of our regular supplements that we take in it and where I need to order them from. I made lists for things like a salad bar dinner. What do I put in a salad bar dinner? A charcuterie board? Like, what do we do with that? Or a taco night? So I don't have to remember what I like to serve with it. And not only do I keep travel groceries in it, I keep a list of my favorite simple travel meals too for when we're staying at a VRBO or Airbnb. Simple things like soup and sandwich or rotisserie chicken salad and fruit or pasta and salad or various sheet pan meals we love. There's tons of apps like this. I just started with Anylist and it stuck with it. I'm kind of a creature of habit. So once I get this app and I start using it, I really have a hard time switching. So it works well. It works well again with my Apple Watch. I could just be in the kitchen and say I need vanilla and I can just hit it and go add vanilla and it does. So super simple. It works with Alexa too, which is kind of fun. Nothing like cooking dinner, right? And you need to add something to your grocery list. And all you have to do is say, Alexa, add chili powder to my grocery list. So I don't usually shop from the app as much as I love my apps. I haven't for short lists, but I'm still a pen and paper gal. But it, more or less for me, it's again, it's helping me remember what I can forget, right? I don't know that I said that right from the Tim Challies quote, but that's what it is. It keeps track of my items I need. So when I weekly meal plan and I start putting my list together, I'll check my Anylist to see what other items I need to add to the list. So number 7 is my book list. All right. So I shared my book list on a post at the very beginning of the year. So I shared it, it's at the blog. So this is super helpful because instead of wondering what to read next or what audiobook to listen to next, I already have a list to choose from. In the past, I've used the G3 Ministries Reading Challenge list. This time I really didn't do that this year. I just kind of picked books that I've not got to and wanted to get to. I just kind of I made a list of books I really want to read. I always like to read an old book. I like to throw a biography in there. I have that kind of a mix of things. I still like my historical fiction, which I usually end up listening to on audiobooks. So what does help me though, that I have done is I make a collection folder in my Kindle and I'll title it 2024 and I'll put all the books in there I hope to read. I have another collection on my Audible app. That's where I listen to audiobooks and that'll say 2024. And then I usually kind of put together my physical books in an area. So I'm always behind and I'm always reading books from last year and I'm always rereading books. But I do have options right in front of me to choose from when it's time for that next book. And I usually have a book going on Audible. I'll have one on my Kindle. Sometimes I'll have one on my tablet and then I'll have another one or two physical books that I'm reading. So we travel a lot. So I'm grateful for my Kindle to have that. So number 8, we're getting there. So hang in with me still, is the Google Shared Calendar. Now, I know most of us use Google Calendar, but this next tool, the Shared Calendar, it really helps me to manage my days well. Just the Google Calendar in general to make sure that all my events and appointments on it are huge. And I really use that notes section and the maps. I put all the info in there when I'm sticking an event in there because then that hooks up with my phone. So I know if I'm going somewhere and I need directions, the address is already there. I just have to hit it. My car picks it up. I'm on my way, right? I do love technology for stuff like that. But what I really like is the addition to being able to add shared calendars with my husband and even my daughter and my son and my father-in-law. We all share calendars together. So it's super helpful when we plan get-togethers. We can always see what other family members have going on. It helps me knowing when I can get family over for dinner or when I can get grandkiddos here for a sleepover. It helps me to see my husband's work schedule and when has even future plans for overnight trips, or if he's got somebody in town and I think he's going to want to have that customer or supplier over for dinner or get together with a lunch or something. I'm so grateful for that shared calendar option. It really is a help for me, even when I'm planning menus for the week, because I can see where he's going to be and what we have going on. I appreciate being able to set reminders so my calendar notifies me of something I don't want to forget. Like I've been really trying to get better at remembering birthdays. So I've been setting reminders for 3 days before someone's birthday. And then I'll actually do it like a day before and then the day of. Again, like I said, I can add address and notes and things. And so like, even think about it, if you're heading to a play or a show, you can have all that info in there. Shared calendar and really just make good use of your Google Calendar is a great way to manage your days. If you don't use the shared calendar yet and you use Google Calendar and it's interesting to you, do a search and see how it works with your devices. Because I know it's probably a little different for Android and iPhone. So I know it's very searchable, probably here on YouTube even. Somebody will be able to walk you through it if you want to do it and you don't know how. Number 9, we're almost down to the last 2. Weekly meeting with my husband. So our weekly meeting is really one of my favorite times of the week. My Doug and I, we just take a few minutes sometimes after we get home from church, usually in the afternoon or the evening. We'll sit with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. We'll look at the week and even the weeks ahead, and we see what's kind of coming up on our calendars. We can see if we look ahead that we have too much scheduled for the week. Maybe we need to cut back on a thing or two or move some things. I can see if he has an upcoming trip for work coming up soon that maybe I could schedule to tag along with him because he loves when I can do that. And I love being with him on those trips. We can take time to plan dinners or get-togethers with church family and friends and time with our family. We'll have time to review other upcoming trips or events we have going on. I know for us how much it is a help even in this empty nest season So I know families with kiddos at home, it would be a huge help for you to coordinate with your husband and your kids. Like, what are your schedules? What's going on? That's a huge one. Number 10 is my cleaning schedule. So this is very simply my simple cleaning schedule. So every day, I do try to clean a little bit in each room or rooms of my home. Some days this works better than others. I do keep cleaning supplies handy under each bathroom sink, and then the rest are in a closet in my hallway on the main living area. I do have another area upstairs. We have two levels in our upper area where I have another vacuum and other cleaning supplies. So having them organized and on hand is a huge help in the care of your home. I put together a very relaxed cleaning schedule for my home, and I do have a free download of it available at the blog. I'll link to that, but I'm going to share a little bit more about how I use it. So, and how it helps me in managing the care of my home. So every day I said I clean a little bit in each area of my home, and I put these areas in my task management app. There's that app, Things 3 again. So Monday is my weekly home blessing. I have a video on that here, and bathrooms. And then Tuesday, I kind of group together my kitchen and pantry and my laundry room. Wednesday are my main living areas, like my living, family, and dining room. Thursday is our main office and our bedrooms, and Friday is basement. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not, so bear with me here. I do have a podcast that walks through that. I believe it's episode 126. It's called My Simple Daily and Weekly Cleaning Schedule. I go in a little more detail. I really want to get a video up on that here, plus to just update it a little bit. But let me walk through one day of it, okay? So we're going to pretend it's Tuesday. I'm actually filming this on a Wednesday, but we're going to pretend it's Tuesday, and then it's my kitchen day. And I throw into that again, I said my pantry and my laundry room sometimes. So let's say I really only have 30 minutes to devote to cleaning my kitchen when Tuesday rolls around. I can still get through most of my list in that amount of time. But if my time is limited, I may just give my countertops and appliances a quick wipe down. I'll check the condition of the garbage can. I'll give the sink a scrub. And I may just vacuum and just mop the floor in the traffic areas, the main areas. The next week, I will probably try to mop the whole floor because I didn't get to it that week. And then my day goes on. I get to my other task. But then at dinner that day, I might clean out the fridge after dinner or while dinner's cooking if I have time, since I'm already doing dishes and I'm in the kitchen, right? I have kitchen cleaning on Tuesday for me because our garbage pickup is Wednesday. So it's a great day to check the fridge for anything that needs to make it to the garbage. If I have a few minutes, I may, after dinner that night, just wipe down the kitchen chairs. And since my pantry and my laundry room get tagged on my list for Tuesday, I might wipe down my washer and dryer while I'm in there switching a load of clothes at some point during the day. When I vacuumed the kitchen, since I already had the vacuum out, I probably would have just vacuumed the kitchen and the pantry and the laundry room too, in addition to the kitchen, because it would take me all of another couple minutes. So none of this took much time at all, but it helped me in the care of my home. If I get nothing else done in a room or the rooms that day, let's just say I had no time to clean. My day just went totally off schedule again. I'll try to give the room at least a quick tidy before I go to bed. Or sometime even earlier the day if it worked out, I might do that. It's amazing what a quick tidy does, okay? Just putting things away or fluffing pillows or clearing off counters or end tables makes a big difference. And the more you keep up with a regular cleaning schedule, knowing that if you didn't get to a room this week, maybe you got in a quick tidy, but maybe not. You know that room is coming again on the next week, and you maybe have a little more time to get to it. If you do a little bit every day and you just continue to declutter and organize and keep things tidy, it's amazing how much easier it is to clean your home. This is a big one, teach your kiddos to put things away. Take the time to help them keep their rooms in order so they're able to put things away. Use their help. Do your chore list, bring them into it, help them to teach them to work and be responsible. I think that's huge. When you're tidy, your home actually looks clean when it's tidy and it has order, even if it's not clean. No one's looking at your dust on your floors like you are. I can promise you that. So put together a really simple schedule for your home. Look at your rooms. How can you break that up? What does that look like? You can use my printable that I have, my free one, as a guide, and then make your own from it that works for your home. I try really hard not to clean on weekends. My cleaning usually takes place during the week. I try to avoid any major cleaning on the weekends unless it's needed for like a party or a project or something we have going on. But even on the weekends, I still try to do a basic tidy every day. So as we close, and this is important, don't leave me yet because this is key. As we close on these 10 things that help me to manage my days, and there's more than that, right? There's more things I didn't talk about, like how I plan my week and my evening routine and sleep schedules and decluttering. And I know there's more. My mind is drawing a blank right now, but I do want to share one item with you that can be a hindrance or a challenge to us as homemakers in managing and being productive with our time, and it's distractions. Because I know as wives and mothers and homemakers, we're always available to everyone. And this can be a hard one at times for me in figuring out how to manage my days. I can start with this really great plan and think I'm going to be productive. And then my day goes nothing like I planned it. But, and this is a big reminder to us all, my day went as God desired it to go. I do know it can be hard as a wife and mom to plan your days because your time is so at the disposal of everyone else, right? Moms are usually found taking care of the needs of others. And so often it means your agenda for the day gets set aside as you meet the needs of your family and others. And honestly, this is probably the biggest struggle for me in managing my days. I get up and I think I'm going to just get through this task list for the day and I'm going to check off maybe one item on it. But I was busy all day with so many other things that needed tended to, and it didn't happen. So, as a full time homemaker, you are on 24/7. We have things we'd like to get accomplished, but many times they get set on the back burner where really more important or needed items take that priority. And I think this can be a struggle with how to have structure to your day to accomplish tasks and chores that do need tended to. I want to encourage you of how helpful a good morning routine is in starting your day. And that's an area I always encourage. And even for mamas with littles, if it's only 15 minutes that they can get time in the word and prayer, but to really prioritize how they can spend time with the Lord in the morning, first thing if possible. I always want to remind you that I know it's not a lot to have to spend time with the Lord in the morning, but I know how it helps direct my thoughts and attitudes to a heavenly perspective and how it shapes my priorities for the day. So, whatever the quote interruption, right? I need to see it not as an interruption, but as an appointment from the Lord. My life is not my own, but it's God's, and He ordains my days. I remind myself often God appoints our portion. So, one area I want to encourage is if you're struggling with managing your days or having focused, productive days, try prioritizing time with the Lord first thing. Time in the Word and prayer, even taking a few minutes to truly meditate, or really that means to think deeply on what you've read. And then before you get your day started, take a moment or two to pray over your to do list, even. Seek the Lord's help in reminding you He establishes your steps. We seem to forget who plans our days and who allows moments in our days that we might consider interruptions. They weren't accidents or interruptions, but they were appointed by God for our good. I think of Romans 8:28. These interruptions, they're not taking us away from the real work because they are the real work the Lord desires for us to accomplish. We can miss the work God's given us when we think the important work, that it's not changing diapers or washing dishes. Our children are not an interruption to our work. They are the important work. My home and I keep doing that. I'm so sorry. My home and the upkeep of it isn't unimportant. It's an area that God has given me stewardship over, and He desires me to care well for it and those inside of it. We're never going to finish everything we need things to be done in a day or even right in our lifetimes, but we are going to finish the work the Lord has ordained for our days. We're going to have days that seem like chaos and so many things on our to-do list were left unfinished. But maybe that was the day that we spent ministering to a friend on the phone. Or maybe it was the day we spent an hour in prayer over a broken relationship. Or was it the day we needed to make dinner for a family in need? Or was it a day we needed to spend longer time in the Word? We don't want productivity to be just an end goal and miss the higher goal that the Lord has in mind, our sanctification. Jesus lived a very short but eternally productive life, and He stated to His Father, I have finished the work you gave me to do. So these moments or days that seem mundane or not very spiritual are the work that the Lord has given us. The Bible doesn't tell us to be the one who gets the most things done, right? But it does tell us to redeem the time we've been given. And we do that by making the best use of our time. And as we live in obedience to God, we're going to get things done because the work is given by God. And what do I end with? Jesus truly is enough always. So I'm so grateful for your time, my friend. Again, the full show notes are over at my home on the web at the blog at thankfulhomemaker.com. If I shared something and I missed it in the show notes or I didn't put it under the video, just shoot me a message or write a comment under the video and I'll get it to you. And I do want to encourage you, if you're not a blog subscriber, I'd so love you to join our little community in Thankful Homemaker. You get access to, actually, there's over 12,000 subscribers, so come be one of them. You get access to free printables in the library, like the cleaning schedule I talked about or the weekly menu plan I talked about. But there's many other resources. I have a bi-monthly newsletter where I put out a devotional, other encouraging resources and articles and links and things for homemakers and some recommendations. And you can subscribe at thankfulhomemaker.com/free-library. I'll link that below the video, so it'll be there. I'm so grateful for you, my friend. Thank you for being here. It's good to be with you. It's been a little bit. I'm glad to be kind of back in the swing of things, and I'm hoping to be. But I am grateful for you, and I do pray that you have a very blessed week.